Hello, my name is Cheryl Wilson and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for coming, and I talk about abstract art, and I actually do painting demonstrations, small paintings, large paintings. I've even done some really large ones. But this week is a little bit different, and those that are coming back, thank you so much for being a part of my channel. And I want to thank those that have joined my membership. I have their names here. I appreciate you so much for being a part of my life with me. And a little extra bonus this month is I'm going to actually show you how to paint with the technique of what Basquiat uses. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. But this week for the regular painting, it's going to be incorporating my style and hopefully your style using the inspiration of this artist, not necessarily his techniques, but using the inspiration incorporated into your paintings. So without further ado, let's get started. And at the end, I'll do another little blurb. I don't want to get into a lot here. I want to get into the video about the membership and how you can actually join to learn about how to paint his technique. So let's get into the painting. I think you'll enjoy it. Actually, it's this painting plus a couple others, so I think you'll enjoy this week. Hello, I'm trying to get back far enough so you can see this painting. This is a painting I did a while back. It is, I think, a 16 by 20, or I didn't write the measurement on it. And if I didn't write the measurement on it, then there was a chance that I thought there still might be something to do. Now I have a painting on my easel that I'm finishing over here. So I'm working on that, and then I have two commissions over there that I'm working on. So while they're both at a drying point, I'm just in a thought process of what to do with this. And I ordered the book by Basquiat, I think that's his name. Very full of energy. He's not alive right now. He died in 1988. But his work is got so much expression in it. It's not necessarily my type of work, but I love the freedom and I love the marks. I mean, if you look at some of the marks in there, and it's just inspired me to go in and add some of my marks that I put in my art are ones that I continue to put. Let me turn my light on. Are the ones I continue to put in my art, but his art inspires me. Some of the markings in his pieces inspire me to make this painting more of, I guess, maybe a street art. Here's some more. So here's the book. I have the series of these books. Taschen? I have a whole bunch of these books. So there's a picture of him. So when I finish these other paintings, I wanted to get started. I wanted to capture this on video. I'm a mess right now. I have my shorts on underneath my painting. This used to be a cute nightgown from Victoria's Secret. And then, of course, I got in the mood and got painting, and now it's a paint smock, so paint shirt. So I'm sure that happens to you. But I wanted to get this recorded so that I can tell you the idea behind what I want to do, and then I'm going to put it on my table and then just make some marks and see where it goes. But I love the moodiness of this, I'm finding I really enjoy a moody painting. So this is very typical of something that excites me, but it doesn't have any, if you look at it, part of the problem is it doesn't have a lot of value. There's a lot of the mid-range. There's a lot of the light colors, and then here's a little bit of dark value, but there's no dark value. So it needs something. It's got the circles, it's got the lines, and that's what intrigued me by the painting itself, but it needs some more dark value to make it pop. I don't know if it needs red or if it needs more black lines, but we'll see. We'll see where this takes me. So I wanted to videotape the thought process behind what I want to get started on, and then I'll show you what I do. Whether it's a success or not, we'll see. And whether this will be the final, we'll see. Because when I go off into working on something that is a little bit more outside my comfort zone, I sometimes don't tape it, but I wanted to show you some of the process I go through when I do go through that. A couple of the other things, I've got some paintings here that are resined. I have a friend that has a couple friends that want some resin pieces. So I've got some, and they're harder to take a picture of to put on my website, but I've got several, and so I gathered the ones I had around the house. These are older. This is called Nymph Dust. I just love this. I called it Nymph Dust in Pink. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful, and then the resin coating, and then I just paint the sides. And then here's another. I called this Fairy Dust, and it's got the shine. It's upside down, but it's just some of the marks in here are just beautiful. And I really love this one. I got a little chip on here. I got to decide what to do. But regardless, I love this one myself, so I may just repair that. We'll see. But this one I love myself, so it doesn't matter if I don't put it on my website. But I wanted to show you some of the things I'm doing in between putting out my videos, so that you know a little bit more about behind the scenes things that I do and where my mind runs. If on any given day, telling you where my mind is going to make any sense, because I don't know, sometimes I don't understand myself. But I enjoy the process of going through the different things, and I love where it takes me. And so I thought I would share that with you. So I thought I would just start with coming up with some marks that are like Basquiat. And even though ultimately what I want on my painting is not his style, it's the technique and the looseness of how he interprets his art that I love. Like, for instance, right here, it's like a piano. So what I did was I pulled out some markers that are white, and I took this piece of paper. It is a piece of, it's a watercolor paper that I painted with black gesso. And I'm going to just make some marks on it with white to kind of give me an idea of loosening up and just enjoying the process. And so I've got Posca markers, I've got Sharpies, I've got Uniball Sigma
pens. I've got some chalk, China markers. I've got the Stabilo. Here's one. I grabbed one that wasn't painted on, but here's one. I've got oil pastels. I've got chalk. And then I've got just some white graphite. I believe that's what this is. But this is a piece of graphite over here. So I'm going to just start. I'm going to turn some music on for you. And I am just going to make marks. And I'm kind of going to use some of the marks that I might see. He does a lot of writing. Of course, the writing in my art pieces that I want to include this in are not going to be the words he used. But I do understand the passion he had in his words. So I'm going to use words that I feel passionate about. So let's just start. I'm going to make some marks and turn some music on. And this is a graphite, and I'm just going to play. So his his markings inspired me kind of just to go out of my normal zone and just enjoy. So what I did was I took another painting and I took a paper, let me move this from behind, and I ripped up pieces of a black paper that I had made some marks on. And this has got some of that really beautiful cornflower blue that I've mentioned before. And I used a frame because I like this frame and it kind of narrows down some areas. And then I just took my papers that I ripped and I laid them down. Now this is not Basquiat style, but this is something I like to do, is use ripped up papers in my artwork and collages. So for me, this took his style of art and just inspired me, and I created a piece that I liked. Now, what you see here is, let me turn this upside down. Depending on the way you rip your paper will be whether you get this edging, the white edges, or if you will get an edge that is cleaner. But I am going to put that both ways. So if I would put a piece of glass on here, you would see this flatten down. And I love this. This means something to me. The marks were very, this was actually done with high flow and marked through like the sgraffito. The marks here have meaning for me. And then the style of placing the pieces of art down and putting a mat around it. I love this. It has meaning for me. And I want to show you another one that I did. This is a green background. And here's a larger piece that I made some marks on. And again, I ripped larger pieces of the paper. This is just a painting that I had marks. I got started, and again I just placed the ripped pieces on here in I like that. I like the round circle, so I want that to show, but I like this. So let me just lay this. And again, I could still keep ripping on here. But if I were to frame this piece of art and put a piece of glass down, you would get the idea of a piece of art that has the inspiration from another artist, but I've incorporated into mine. So that's where we're coming from. Now, the marks itself, if I were, because I want to get closer to changing that original piece of art, so I took an original piece of art that I had done on paper, and by using the techniques, this frame is a little bit big, I reversed and used black. I used some of the same marks, very carefree, scratchy marks, and I can go in with some white and keep adding. I can add since it's got color here, it's going to be a little bit harder. This is an oil pastel. So use my hash marks, my 8 my infinity sign. So I've incorporated the marks into a painting more. This is a piece of collage more than adding the pieces of collage. So this is the same thing that I want to do, and I want to attempt to do on my larger painting. I'm going to make room here because that painting is large. Bring this over again. See if I can get most of this in frame. Alright, so here we're at this large canvas, and I have some marks down here because I deliberately put this down when I was messing with some other pieces, just to get some miscellaneous marks. So I want to incorporate my inspiration from Basquiat. I hope I'm saying his name right. Basquiat. Okay. And I also want to incorporate my personal markings. So the first thing I want to do is these marks up here. I want to make them a little bit, some of them a little bit darker, because I'm looking at them and I'm thinking they're just not, there's no value that is standing out with me. So I'm going to go ahead and just, and I'm not going to be consistent, so I'm going to make some darker and some lighter, and I will go back in. This one I may make this light. Alright, I want to go in with a piece of graphite and add these marks, kind of like teeth marks. I'm going to add my 8 a couple places. I want to go in with a rigger brush and some darker paint and do some of my, I'm going to emphasize some of this. Very, very messy. I want to do some of my writing. My word, I always put the word emotions in my work. I always do it backwards. And this time I'm going to, this is very messy. Now we're getting completely away from the traditional painting, which was a very muted looking painting. I have a mark right here that was a miscellaneous mark I don't like, so let's go in. This is a woody, and do some of my, I like notes, so I'm going to add some notes. I'm going to cover that up. Now I will have to spray this with a fixative because all of this is water soluble, which means that you touch it with water and it's going to get smeared, which is okay in some places, but it's not going to be okay for me in other places. So now I've got this painting, and it's the very muted painting that I initially had, which I really liked, but as it was growing on me, I decided that I wanted something different. Is now become very almost like street art. So I'm going to want to come in here with some other colors. I may want to add some drips, but I want the color to be a combination of what colors I already have here. I'm going to do some of that light blue. It might have just a tad of like a green in it. So I may want to grab some turquoise. Okay, so I want to add, I'm going to pick this up, maybe some drips. May want to add some more white in here. I think I'm going to leave that to dry. So let's let this dry and see what I think. So after the painting dried, I really like this painting. It's out of my comfort zone, but it's a style that I have had people before ask me if I would create. I have several pieces that I've created that are like this, but I think this is one of the most maybe expressive pieces I've created. It's brought on by my inspiration from another artist. It's not taken that other artist and trying to create a piece of art, because his art is not really my style, but a lot of what he put in his art inspire me. They touch me, those marks, the dramaticness, the feeling that I get when I look at his art. That's what I wanted to convey, but use my influence, what feels good to me, and that's what I created here. I took the pieces and I put them in some mock-up rooms to kind of see what they would look like. I kind of envision them more in a moody setting, a setting with a lot more texture, either on the walls or in like in the bedroom, like in the bedding. I mean, it could go in, a wall that's pretty like a white wall with not as much texture that I'm thinking, but this is kind of like what I had in mind. More pieces like the chair in the office is a pop of color. And so it kind of just helps bring out some of the blue and the yellow, the blue, the orange is like contrasting colors, and I like that. And then in the bedroom, that industrial type lamp, and then the different stripes in the blanket that's on the bed, and then the different lines that are on the cushions. I just kind of like that as in contrast to the painting. To me, it just, they all seem to fit together. And here it is against just like a brick wall. So all in all, I like the painting. You know, there's that back and forth on if you're creating a piece like this for like a commission, you would definitely have to see the space that you're creating in. I created the piece more out of inspiration from what I felt on canvas. And of course, it would have to fit into a scenario in somebody's home or even my home, because I do like the piece. So I wanted to show you what it would look like against like a brick wall, very industrial wall. And then here's the last picture, just with an awful lot of color and texture behind it. I kind of emulated in mind what types of walls that Basquiat was painting on. And of course, my piece is not as traumatic or dramatic as his pieces. I just still envisioned the different colors of the wall that he may have painted on, or may have painted the entire wall himself to. So I hope you enjoyed this style of video. It's a little bit different than what I normally do, but it's what I do behind the scenes, basically. I don't always paint the most traditional paintings that I normally paint. I explore other areas, and so I wanted to bring you into my studio with me as I went through this process, and just encourage you to invite into your art journey, when you're ready, some exploration of things that you love, but in a little bit different way. So I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun creating it. And bear with me for just a second to let me tell you, since this is new, about my art memberships. I have 2 levels. I have the art supporter, which is $1.99, and that's basically to support me in my journey, and the artisan, which will be extra videos during the month. It will be anything that I can come up with that this area will grow, and that's $9.99 a month. And for both of those levels, even if you're just a supporter, I want to thank you so much. But this next video coming out will be this week. It's an extra video this month. I've already put 1 or maybe 2 out. It's a continuation on the painting of Basquiat. It is the techniques he uses. It goes into more in depth, not the influence like this video, but actually talks about his techniques. So come on over, join for a month. If you don't like it, you can stop the membership. I completely understand. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I think that it would be fun, and I would love to have you as a part of the group with the rest of the people that have already joined me over there.